II was born into the royal family, she was never destined to be queen. So when the Duke and Duchess of York announced the birth of their first child on April 21, 1926, no one could have guessed their little daughter, Elizabeth Alexandra Mary, would one day rule Great Britain. All that was to change, however, when Elizabeth's uncle, Prince Edward, abdicated his right to rule to marry an American divorcee. Elizabeth's father reluctantly took the throne, becoming King George VI in 1936. 10-year-old Elizabeth became his heir. At age 14, the homeschooled princess began to perform royal duties, as well as doing her bit when her country was embroiled in World War II. In 1945, at age 18, the young princess trained as a driver and mechanic in the Women's Auxiliary Service. She and her sister later joined other Britons to celebrate VE Day on the streets of London. Like thousands of others, she also had a sweetheart, her third cousin, Prince Philip of Greece. The couple were engaged to be married shortly after the princess's 21st birthday. The royal wedding, held November in 1947 in London's Westminster Abbey, brightened the gloom of the post-war years. The following year, the couple's first child, Charles, the Prince of Wales, was born. He was followed by Princess Anne in 1950, Prince Andrew and Prince Edward. But in 1952, while in Kenya, Elizabeth learned her father, the king, had died. She was now, at the age of 25, the Queen of England.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short, shall be devoted to your service and to the service of our great imperial family to which we all belong.
Elizabeth was to rule in a new era, her coronation in all its splendor, the first to be broadcast on television. In 1957, Queen Elizabeth met President Eisenhower. She would go on to meet every other serving U.S. president except Lyndon Johnson. She often spoke of the strong bond between the two nations, saying it extended beyond military ties. The 1990s was a turbulent decade for the royal family, as the marriages of 3 of the Queen's children fell apart amid relentless TV coverage and tabloid headlines. But there was worse to come in 1997 with the death of Diana, Princess of Wales, in a car accident in France. At the time, the Queen was criticized for her reserved response and persuaded to make an unprecedented live broadcast.
So what I say to you now, as your Queen and as a grandmother, I say from my heart. First, I want to pay tribute to Diana myself.
Years later, the Queen attended Prince William's wedding to Kate Middleton in April in a ceremony claimed to have been watched by 2 billion people. That same year, the Queen made an historic visit to the Republic of Ireland, the first British monarch to do so in almost a century, a step towards healing a deep historical rift. The following year, the country turned out in force to celebrate Queen Elizabeth's 60-year reign, throwing her a Diamond Jubilee celebration spanning 4 days. Thousands lined the bank of the River Thames as a flotilla of 1,000 boats, led by the Queen, made its way down the river. The worst of British weather tried but failed to dampen the mood, and the Queen, then 86 years old, stood side by side with Prince Philip, then 90, for the 4-hour ceremony. Queen Elizabeth ended her celebrations by thanking the nation for honoring her.
I will continue to treasure and draw inspiration from the countless kindnesses shown to me in this country and throughout the Commonwealth. Thank you all.
In 2013, the Queen welcomed her third great-grandchild, the much-anticipated Prince George, son of William and Kate. He now becomes second in line to the English throne. 2 years later, he was followed by a sister, Princess Charlotte, now third in line. 2015 was also the year Queen Elizabeth became Britain's longest-serving monarch, overtaking her great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria. In 2016, the Queen celebrated her 90th birthday. The 4-day event was a symbol of her deep involvement with the armed forces and a chance for the nation to celebrate her life. In 2018, the Queen watched as her grandson, Prince Harry, married American actress Meghan Markle in a ceremony that brought glamour and Hollywood royalty to the House of Windsor. From an early age, Queen Elizabeth was one of the most recognizable royals in the world. Nearly a third of the planet looked to her as a leader of the Commonwealth. She embodied old-fashioned values of virtue, faith, and self-restraint, honoring to the very end the pledge she made when she was just 21. And now this is the end of the